Bam! And we continue. Court is now back in session. Mr. Justice, have you sorted things out with the defendant? Yes, Your Honor. We had a good talk. Very well. So, will he testify? Your Honor, the defendant will not testify. What? Shame. And here I thought this was your big chance to turn the case around. Actually, it is. The defense would like to approach this case from a different angle, Your Honor. A different angle? If Maki won't testify, then I know who will. I would like to cross-examine the witness in this case, Lenoir. Lenoir?
Objection!
What are you up to now? I thought we determined yesterday that Lenoir's testimony was insubstantial. There's nothing you can... Lenoir was taken to the hospital yesterday with injuries. What happened? She was assaulted, Your Honor. Assaulted? Someone wanted Lenoir dead. Thankfully, she was able to save herself. What? I heard no such report. Prosecutor Gavin, why would anyone be out to kill Lenoir? Can you think of a reason? Well, think of how she is known in our country. A singer from overseas who doesn't speak English, yes? Yet someone tried to keep her mouth shut. Who could that have been? You don't think? I do. It was the same person who shot Mr. Lettuce. The killer was afraid of her, afraid of what she might say. The defense believes that something was hidden in her testimony yesterday. Something that the killer doesn't want getting out. So, am I to understand that this is what you are saying? Namely, that there is a nugget of truth in Lenoir's testimony. A nugget we have yet to uncover. Exactly. If Lenoir was attacked, this has serious implications. Very well. There was some vague points in her testimony during yesterday's trial. Perhaps we did not inquire as deeply as we might have into some. The court will hear Lenoir's testimony once more. Lenoir, I must apologize. We must ask you to stand in again, speak. Stand again and speak. You need not apologize. I know that Maki is innocent, and I will do all that I can until the court realizes this. Let's review your testimony from yesterday. You told us you heard 2 gunshots and the shooter's voice through the window, and that the voice belonged to Darien Crescent, yes? That is correct. At which point I proved she could not be correct. She could not have heard any of those things. A small window at the scene was closed and found to be quite soundproof. You have nothing to say to that, Mr. Justice? I don't know exactly what yet, but I do know there's something there. There is, it seems, much you do not know. And yet it is my duty to hear him out. Perhaps the witness would be so kind to testify once more to the court. Of course, Your Honor. Why did I chuckle there? Of course, Your Honor. Witness testimony! I was on my way to the stage from the backstage exit. That's when I heard them, Mr. Lettuce and the detective. I heard the faint sound of a gunshot and then stopped. I've heard the faint sound of a gunshot and stopped. Then I heard another gunshot. There was a smell of gunpowder. I knew I must tell someone, but I was in a hurry, so I kept moving past the small window. And then you told no one that there were gunshots. Pretty much the same as yesterday's testimony. But now we have the added bit about Darien. I'm not used to speaking much in this language. Perhaps my descriptions are lacking in some way. Yet everything I have said here is the truth. And it is my distinct displeasure to say this. What you have said to have happened is impossible. Do I have to repeat myself? Lenoir was attacked because of this testimony. What? Drucy? Apollo? You know, for a moment there, you were pretty cool. Maybe I do better when I don't try to think ahead. Very well, Mr. Justice. Perhaps you can coolly cross-examine the witness? Oh, no. You know what? Sure, let's go through all of them just to get the fast dialogue skip. Oh, whoops. Excellent. There we go. Learning the tech. Press. Dot, dot, dot. Is something wrong? I know I said hold it, but she's saying the same thing she said before. Mr. Justice? Sorry, it's nothing. Please, continue with your testimony. Now I know what they mean about the reckless youth these days. The one in the red over there is a shining example there, Judge. You're the last person who should be pointing fingers, Mr. Rockstar. Darian Crescent? I did not know his name at the time. But yes, it was him. The one who took the stand yesterday. How many times do I need to remind you that's impossible? There's no way you could have heard him. Because the window at the scene was closed? Is that why? Of course. Apollo, if we keep asking the same questions as yesterday, we won't get anywhere. She's right. Maybe there's a different angle I can try. What were they talking about? Lenoir, do you by any chance remember what they were saying to each other? If so, please tell us. I've given it much reflection, but I was afraid of this. She doesn't remember. I only heard one phrase clearly. A whole phrase? You remember something that was said? Why didn't you say anything yesterday? Though my memory is clear, I was afraid to speak. You see, I do not understand what was said. This could be it. Clue I've been waiting for. Well, what did he say? It was the other man speaking, not Mr. Lettuce. Mr. Lettuce. The shooter, then. Darian Crescent. Well, what did he say? It's over. Press the switch. Now. Switch? And the shooter said this to the victim, Mr. Lettuce? I thought it was quite strange myself afterward. It is a mystery. What could it possibly mean? Mr. Justice? Care to shed some light on this? I mean, sure. It's very vital. Maybe we should add it to the testimony. Maybe, Apollo? I hope this says take that instead of objection. Objection! It's objection. Press the switch. There's only one key that can unlock the mystery of those words. Oh? There was nothing at the scene that could be called a switch. Save the lights. True, there wasn't a switch at the scene. But it just so happens I have a switch right here. That certainly does look like a switch, doesn't it? Problem is, this was found not at the scene of the crime, but on the stage. The stage? Where the concert was held, yes. This was found hidden there. On the stage. Are you claiming that the voice Lenoir heard was someone commanding another to press this switch? It's a possibility. Objection! Oh, hair forehead. I'd call that an impossibility. Why? It's hardly necessary for me to remind the court of the layout of the concert room. The stage is quite far from Lenoir's dressing room. Not to mention that the Gaviners were in the middle of a concert on said stage. They are known for being a quiet band. You could shout all you wanted and not be heard. The detective's voice was loud, but certainly not a shout. So too have Air Forehead's cries of possibility fallen far short of being heard. Sorry, but he wouldn't have needed to shout. Excuse me? You heard what I said. Or do you need me to shout it out for you? It would have been quite simple to be heard on the stage from that dressing room. Oh, wait, you like evidence, don't you? How about this? Using this, it would be easy to get a message to someone on stage from the dressing room. Take that! Prosecutor Gavin, perhaps you're familiar with this. Why, that's... What is it? Is that some kind of newfangled phone they invented while I wasn't looking? This is a type of transmitter, a communications device. Communications device? From what I've heard, that night, everyone on stage was wearing one of these. Isn't that right, Prosecutor Gavin? Yes, actually. They're for talking between band members. We all had one. So you admit that if you were wearing one of these, talking from the backstage to the stage would be simple. Objection! True, but wait. Those sound out an electronic signal. To avoid interference with the audio systems, their range is quite limited. Lamroir said it was about 30 feet, right? Look at this cross-section diagram of the concert forum. Exactly. The walk from the stage to the backstage seems far, but the direct distance is less than 30 feet. That can't be! So, when Lamroir heard the shooter's voice, he could have been talking to someone on stage.
Objection!
You're claiming this is the switch in question? Why did it have to be on the stage at the time? It could have been placed in a pocket and carried anywhere. Someone could have hit it on stage after the fact. Hey, he's got a point. How do we know where it was when she heard the voice? And the shooter said, press the switch. Well, I guess we don't. Unfortunate situation. I'm afraid that until we know where this switch was, there's little point in debating it. I'm sure that this was the way to go with this. What is this switch anyway? We don't even know that basic fact. Wait a second. I do know what this switch is. If you follow that train of logic to its incredible conclusion, it ends up in proof that this completely changes the case. What's up, Apollo? Apollo? We know about this switch, right? We know what it is. Yeah? Well, think of when it was used that day. Think of what happened. Well, Mr. Justice, if you have no further information to share concerning the switch... Your Honor. Yes, Mr. Justice? I've been remiss in not telling this court before. I know what this switch is. Well, it seems the defense is set upon linking this switch to the case. Let's see your evidence of the link. What evidence do you have to explain what the switch is? Well... Prosecutor Gavin, you remember this? That what? Is it another one of those newfangled phones? This is an igniter. What phone looks like this? Igniter? You mean it's like a lighter? Yes, actually. You aren't saying this switch is a remote? I am. This is a remote trigger for an igniter. What? Look, I'll show you. Don't just light the judge's hand on fire! Mr. Justice, you will cease and desist from burning down this courtroom. Sorry, that was a bit more fire than I'd expected. My whiskers had caught on fire. Prosecutor Gavin, let me repeat myself. This switch is a remote igniter trigger. Doesn't that suggest something to you? You're talking about what happened to me, aren't you? Exactly. That night at the concert, there was one unusual burst of flame. When your guitar caught fire in the middle of your concert. In the middle of your performance. Wasn't that part of the stage show, though? Prosecutor Gavin was entirely unaware such a thing had been planned. And the guitar that burned was a valuable keepsake. That's right, he got it in Borginia from Lamroir. He said the sound was amazing. Before it burned, of course. Now it just kinda smokes. The better the guitar, the brighter it burns. Forehead. Yes? Don't tell me you're trying to tie these two things together. Those being the shooter's voice, heard by Lamroir, and the guitar suddenly catching on fire. I am. It's really simple when you think about it. Mr. Lettuce and the shooter were at the crime scene. The shooter was wearing a headset. He ordered someone on stage to press the switch. The switch was pressed, and the guitar caught fire. Well, that does seem to make sense. Though something about this is bugging me. Can't quite put my finger on it. Really? It seems pretty simple to me. Forehead. Don't destroy what little respect I have for you. I was expecting something a little more sensible. I guess I was wrong. What's this all about, Prosecutor Gavin? His simple story makes no sense. His simple story simply makes no sense. Think. That night my guitar caught fire, yes. The cause? May have been this, indeed. However, the guitar caught fire during the second set. That's right. Of course. The guitar caught fire during Lamoire's song. Indeed, yet the shooting happened during the third set. The two are utterly unrelated. Yes, that must have been what was bugging me. The whole premise for this is faulty. See? His story makes no sense.
Objection!
Are you sure about that? What exactly do you mean, Mr. Justice? Maybe it's not the premise for my explanation of the switch that's at fault. Maybe it's our premise for the entire case so far. What premise is this specifically? I'm glad you asked. I'm saying that maybe the killing didn't take place in the third act.
Objection!
What's this? But Detective Emma Skye heard shots and found the body. All this happened in the third act.
Objection!
Gunshots rang out, and according to his testimony, Maki was in that dressing room at the time. Where are you going with this, Mr. Justice? Stay with me, Your Honor. He also told us this in his testimony. Namely, that the victim had already been shot. We all heard gunshots, but no one saw the shooting. This is insane! Just before the shooting took place, the shooter heard on his headset telling someone to press the switch. The next moment, Prosecutor Gavin's guitar burst into flame. We know that a remote trigger igniter was inside the guitar. From all these facts, we can draw only one conclusion. The crime did not take place during the third act, but during the ballad performance. The second act. What? But that goes against the evidence. What does, Your Honor? This crime scene was carried out according to the lyrics of the song, yes? Hey, he's right. Look. The bullet is supposed to come after the fire. You're thinking about it the wrong way. Huh? Look. Why would the shooter craft the evidence of the day to follow the lyrics anyway? It's an awful lot of trouble to go through. With little merit for the person doing it. Well, I'm sure whoever doing it had some reason. Whoever it was had some reason. Yes, they did. A reason that made it advantageous to follow the lyrics. They're saying the order was reversed on purpose. Reversed, Prosecutor Gavin? If the criminal followed the lyrics strictly, then yes. The shooting would have to come after the guitar burst in flame. Yet, Air Forehead has raised another possibility. He's claiming that the bullet came not after, but just before the fire. Couldn't have put it better myself. We were only meant to think that the shooting came after the guitar burst into flame. That was the criminal's objective. The criminal followed the lyrics to a point, but that was the ruse. Why else would the killer risk discovery by moving the body? That was the final touch to make us think he'd follow the lyrics the whole way. That would explain this most unusual situation. It does. The killer changed the order of events to create himself an alibi. In other words, the killer was someone who had an alibi for the third set, but not the second.
Objection!
I was hoping it wouldn't come to this. Sadly, it has. Let me tell you why your little fairy tale makes no sense at all. Oh, it sounds good, I'll give you that. You've given us a reason as to why the killer bothered following the lyrics to my song. But I question your logic. For it's flawed from the very beginning. Flawed? Yes, a contradiction, Air Forehead. One I've pointed out several times, no less. At the time of the crime, the small window at the scene was closed. How could Lamoire have heard a voice through it? Oh. I know that you would like to divert our attention from this critical fact, but you're basing your entire line of reasoning on a false premise. Right. Lamoire's testimony is my entire case. That voice she heard. The shooter's voice. Hey, Chelly. What's up? What's up? Welcome. What if she couldn't hear it, Apollo? Look, what do we have? A man saying press the switch. And near the crime scene, we have a switch, which acts as a remote trigger for an igniter. You have COVID, god fucking damn it. I'm so sorry. Hope you feel better soon. So I can do abiotic tonight if Nova's available. Lamau. Yay! Great. Fantastic. I guess we can ping Nova, and I'll see to it after I'm done with this that we make a little bit more progress. And last but not least, Prosecutor Gavin's flaming guitar. It can't all be a coincidence. How do I make it work? I see a more direct line of questioning is required. When the crime scene was investigated, immediately after the crime, that window was closed. Care to tell us how Lenoir heard the voice? A key point to be sure. Mr. Justice, can you explain this to the court? Okay, Justice. You've got one thing to prove and one thing only. Lenoir heard a voice. And she heard it during the second set. Think. How was Lenoir able to hear the voice? She was somewhere else. When we investigated the scene, the window was closed. The shooter had no reason to close it, hadn't been open either. Meaning, it was impossible to hear the voice through that window. It is good to hear you making sense again. For a moment, I was afraid you might be a Borginian too. As I was saying, Lenoir could not hear the voice through that window. So there can be only one explanation. She heard the voice from another location entirely. You do amuse me so. And here I thought you and Good Sense were back on speaking terms. Now I'm afraid you and Good Sense speak two entirely different languages. Shall I interpret it for you, Air Forehead? Lenoir clearly stated that she heard the voice through a small window. And that there was only one small window at the scene. Are you sure? Think about it. Isn't there another small window at the scene? There is? I know that look. He wants us to ask him. Very well. You claim Lenoir heard the voice from another location. Mr. Justice, show us where this location was. Lenoir heard the voice from here. She heard from here. This is where Lenoir heard that voice from. But that's no small window. That's the air vent. What did she tell us? She said that she's a Borginian, unfamiliar with our language. It's not a stretch to imagine she called this air vent a small window. Now you've done it. You've gone beyond ridiculous and gone into ludicrous. So Lenoir was up in the ventilation system listening to a man's voice? That's the only logical explanation, yes. Logical? I do not think this word means what you think it means, Air Forehead. Inconceivable! Okay, what about it isn't logical? It hardly merits saying. Why would Lenoir be up in the ventilation system? Hiding like a rat. No offense to her, of course. The explanation for that is simple, Prosecutor Gavin. Isn't it, Lenoir? You have been listening to our discussion here, yes? Yes. I admit, it's had me quite confused since yesterday. Yet the small window was closed. But why should that mean I could not hear through it? I feared our prosecutor himself might need an interpreter. The problem here is words. Lenoir, this small window through which you heard the voice, was it up high on the ceiling of the room, not low on a wall? Yes, it was up on the ceiling. What? Twang. Witness, you will clarify this statement to the court. Are you, in fact, saying that you were up above the ceiling of the room? And that's where you heard the moment of the crime? And that also explains why she never reported anything. Yes, in fact, I was. I'm sorry. I never imagined it would come to such an important point. Yes, well, why the heck were you up there? I believe it's time for another testimony. I'm not sure I can't. May I remind you this is a murder trial. We will hear your testimony. Tell us why you witnessed the crime from above the ceiling in that room. Please. Well, looks like I'm on the right track. Yes, I was above the ceiling when I heard the voice. I heard that there was a small window there before. I was in the middle of my performance. I had no time to report what I had heard. As to why I was there, I cannot say. I am bound to secrecy on this matter. Bound to secrecy? Thanks, Judge. In my line of work, one has many obligations to uphold. But you say you were in the middle of your performance. So this did happen during the second set. I did not witness the crime, you must understand. I only know what I heard. Yes, but you must tell us what you were doing in detail. That's what the cross-examination is for, yeah, Air Forehead? Our mission in this court is to discern the truth. No obligation, no binding pact may hinder this mission. That mission. These missions. Very well. Mr. Justice, you may begin the cross-examination. What are you going to do, Apollo? I'm going to find out the truth. She was above that ceiling for a reason. I just have to get it out of her. Bound to secrecy, bold text. Exactly who bound you to secrecy? I'm not sure I'm allowed to say who it was. No, I think perhaps that is all right. It is just a name, after all. It was Valent Gramarye. Perhaps you know of him? Valent Gramarye? What? You mean Uncle Valent? What? Valent Gramarye? Who's Valent Gramarye? A grand magician. The one responsible for the illusion performed during our concert. Interesting reaction, Prosecutor Gavin. Lamroir was bound to secrecy. It's going to take some hard-hitting proof to make her talk. I think I know why she was up there, but how do I prove it? I think I need a little bit more than that. Hold on. Let's press this one too. You heard the gunshots during the second set during your performance. You're quite sure? Yes. Why would I lie about the time? Why didn't you tell us this yesterday? No one asked me. I thought you all knew. I told you Maki was not the killer. I told you this many times. Yes, you did. But you never told us why. I am sorry. I was not able to speak of it. Unable or unwilling? She's not talking, Apollo. What do we do? We'll just have to prove it ourselves. As long as she's bound by this pact of silence, she won't talk. But if I can prove why she was up there, she'll have to admit it. But how are you going to do that? She was singing on the stage, Apollo. She couldn't have been above the ceiling, too. Yes, she could. I've got a theory as to why, too. And maybe I've got the evidence to prove it. Oh boy! It's time to hear that song one more time! Lamroir, truth be told, the reason for your presence above the ceiling is quite clear. Especially when you consider what happened during your performance. What happened? Yes, it's all right here on this video. Alright, I'm gonna just, take a nap real quick while this plays. The only redeeming quality of that video is seeing Gavin panic over the guitar. Trying to put it out. I was like, ah, damn it, this thing costs so much. It's so rare. It's a keepsake. As we can see, Lanoir was clearly not on stage for her entire performance. Though it saddens me to be so realistic. Lanoir is incapable of actually vanishing, let alone teleportation. So the only explanation is that she was hidden from view. And during that time, she moved to the back of the forum. Apollo! What, Trucy? It's not nice to reveal a magician's secrets, and it's against the rules. But I'm a lawyer, I'm not supposed to be nice. This is all very fascinating. But how is it possible? There's only 20 seconds between when she disappears and reappears. She couldn't have been moved that fast. Is something wrong, Prosecutor Gavin? This was his concert. His show. He knows how the illusion was performed. Aha. He's just realizing his own oversight. Let's look at the cross-section diagram again. Here we can trace a route through the ceiling. It goes from the stage, through the backstage to the rear of the forum. Recall Lanoir's testimony from yesterday. I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. There was something like a little window there. That's how I saw it. She went from the stage to the backstage exit. A perfect description of the route above the ceiling. I used route and then I used route. Amazing. Consistency, A+. Lanoir knew of this because of her part in the illusion. But she wasn't the only one who knew. What? Just now in the lobby, Maki told me something. I know if I open an event, I can leave the stage and backstage. He said that? Oh, were you not informed, Prosecutor Gavin? I knew about the Vanishing Act, of course. Yet, I had no idea of the route that would be used. Why didn't that magician tell me? The magician only revealed details of their acts on a need-to-know basis. They're the bread and butter of a magician's life, you know. Which is why he bound Lanoir to secrecy. Well, Lanoir? I'm impressed, Mr. Attorney. Maki was right about you. So, what does this mean? Are you saying you used this route above the ceiling? I did. Well, that's that. But I'm still a little confused. Why is that, Your Honor? As I said before... There was very little time between when she disappeared and when she reappeared. 20 seconds, tops. How could she do it so fast? Especially if she stopped to hear the shooter's voice. That's a good question. Can the witness explain this to the court? I cannot. Very well. Mr. Justice? Yes? It's all up to you. Do your thing. What thing, Your Honor? You need to explain how Lanoir was able to teleport like she did. Or I'm throwing your case out with the bathwater. Why do I get picked on? It's Lanoir who isn't going along with the program here. As I have stated before, I am not at liberty to speak of the illusion that night in detail. Then you'll just have to tell us what you can. We'll hear your testimony on this. Mr. Justice, it will be your job to wring the truth out of her. Yes, if you would please. Right. I feel like a student before the final. Good luck, Apollo. Yeah, good luck me. I followed the route exactly as I was instructed. There is an emergency exit in the backstage where a stagehand waited. From there, one can enter the forum on the opposite side from the stage. The plan was for me to move there in 2 minutes. In 2 minutes? Ooh, that's way more time than we expected. I was on my way when I heard the voice. 2 minutes, you say? Mystery deepens. I suppose it was too much to hope that the judge would come up with something. As does my curiosity. Take it away, Mr. Justice. Right, Your Honor. All I have to do is find the contradiction between what Lamoire is saying and what we can see plainly in the video. I figured it out already. I am a magician, after all. Well, tell me! Not a chance. I can't reveal another magician's secrets. Come on. Hey, you're supposed to be on my side here! How did you, proceed along this route? How? Why, I walked. But you arrived behind the forum much too fast to have been walking. Tell the truth, Lamoire. You rode some kind of vehicle. What? A vehicle? What vehicle? Haha, what a novel idea. I like it. Hey, that's not a bad guess. Wrong, but not bad. Haha, yes, laughed the dumb attorney. I don't mind. I'm sorry, but the girl is right. That vent was much too small for vehicles. It was a tight fit. Even I had to crouch as I walked. I cannot imagine a vehicle that would fit in such a small space. If it wasn't a vehicle, what was it? You had me going for a while there, Mr. Justice. Too bad. Ready for the next part? Why do I feel like I'm on some kind of quiz show? Did everyone on the concert staff know about the trick? Not all. Only a few that were needed to help. See? Like I said, it's on a need-to-know basis. So, not many people knew about the trick. What were these stagehands required to do? One needed to open the emergency exit. The door to the stairs is locked, but once through there... So when you came back out, you were behind the audience. Yes, that is how it worked. Not a bad show, if I do say so myself. That's Uncle Valant for you, the old Gramarye touch. But on the video, you were only gone 20 seconds. How is that possible? That's the part I don't get either. Yes, it would be hard to go so far in only 20 seconds. 2 minutes? Yes, it can be done in 1 minute if you are running. Running? In that cramped, dark tunnel above the ceiling? Mr. Attorney, have you forgotten? Dark or lit, it makes no difference to me. That's true, but... So you're saying that on the night of the concert, you made the trip in 2 minutes? Yes, though I nearly didn't make it in time. You see, I stopped halfway. Lamoire disappears on the video for 20 seconds. But she says she made the trip in 2 minutes. How? If you want my professional opinion, I'll bet the answer's right there in that video. Well, Mr. Justice, perhaps you have some evidence for us? Something that can explain the discrepancy between the video and her testimony. Evidence explaining the discrepancy? What do I have? What do I have? What do I have? Time to watch this video again. Alright, let's watch the guitar catch on fire one more time! One more time. Yeah, that's it. And she's not moving her mouth right now either during that animation segment. Let's go back further and see here. Is her mouth moving? Well, her mouth is open. I guess they don't mind just not animating that. Alright, sure. Her elbow has dull joints. At least that's what it looks like. Let's say that there is and take the hit, probably. Because nothing else that I have looks like it would apply. Aha! So this is it? The magical key to unlocking this illusion's dark secret? Tell us how it works, quickly! I can't bear the suspense. I was kind of hoping someone else would jump in at this point. Well, you see... Judge, I do hate to spoil the mood, but I haven't the faintest idea what he's talking about, and neither does he. I'm a little confused too there, Apollo. Right. By which I conclude that I was wrong. Better luck's nigh, Pollywog. Mr. Justice, I'm holding you responsible for spoiling my mood. Damn. Was that a tear I just saw in the judge's eye? Alright, nothing to do but to rethink this through. Key's in the video somewhere, I'm sure of it. Well, let's take a look at it one more time. Or let's press the last one, rather.
Objection!
Put that forehead of yours to work on this illusion first. Hold on, I think the identity of the killer is a little more important, don't you? Importance schmortens. Importance schmortens. Objection overruled. Tell us about the illusion. No use trying to avoid the problem at hand, Apollo. Trying to avoid the problem? This is a murder trial. The killer is the problem. Contradiction between Lamoire's testimony and the video. Unraveling an illusion can't be so different from solving a normal case, right? Sorry, Apollo. I'm not telling. Not even if you make those puppy dog faces. Fine, fine. Alright, so I guess I do have the answer to this. Well, we got something. First case in country. Oh, I've never actually investigated this guitar, have I? And we're just gonna look at the sound hole. Like you after a trial, Apollo. Damn! Holy shit! What the hell? The burn clean through or the useless piece of junk? Probably the burn clean through bit. I mean, I guess it would have to be this, because we haven't discussed the vent going upwards or wherever that is. I think it's just her poorly describing the situation. She's there in 20 seconds, but she has somewhere else to be in 2 minutes. Damn.
Objection!
Damn. Get me out of here! No, his mood!
Hold it!
Badge. It's the mixing board? It must be the mixing board because maybe she's got pre-recorded stuff playing while she's in the vent. It would be really awkward to hear her doing a little bit of vent crawling.
Take that!
No!
Objection!
Okay, let's just, you know, save scum for a second. Might as well save scum here rather than, you know, going down to 1. What do I have? Oh, that explains how the brooch showed up. She says she made it the trip in 2 minutes. How? I bet the answer's right there in that video. Well, Mr. Justice? The evidence is right there in that video. Oh my god, we're gonna watch this one more time. So we've got the fire. Yeah, we got the fire going. The fire is no longer going. No, that makes no sense. Not the postcard, it's not the revolver, it's not the brooch. Almost certainly not the brooch. It does explain when she dropped it, though. Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, so there it is. That's proof that it happened. Her brooch is gone. Lenoir, do you happen to remember this brooch? Aha, the brooch! We saw that yesterday, didn't we not? It was found at the scene, Your Honor. And you're bringing this up now? Why? I thought we had already determined that it was when that was dropped. So did I. But we hadn't. Take another look at the video. I guess that was it, but we hadn't. Oh my god, let me skip this. I just watched it 3 times. Here, you can see she's wearing the brooch. So she is. Let's look a bit later. Hell yeah, skip it for me. What? The brooch! It's gone! What? What? Nani? Yes, the brooch disappeared in the short space of 20 seconds. And it takes a full minute to run from the stage to the backstage. Which means there can be only one explanation. The Lenoir we see before the Vanishing Act and the Lenoir we see after are 2 different people. What? The brooch was found on the floor of the crime scene. And not just on the floor, but on the floor directly beneath the air vent. L'Armoire, tell me, did you drop the brooch on your way from the stage to the backstage? At the very moment you witnessed the crime? Yes, I think I did. Prosecutor Gavin! From your expression, I gather you had no idea this was the case, our judge. I, of course, knew about it. And you're just gonna let a potential murderer, get away? You knew this and you just kept mum the entire fucking time? I guess he's having fun. I guess we're all having fun here. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't hiding it. It just never occurred to me. But the switch and the shooting took place at the same time. So, I was right. There was a switch. There was. Just before the stage's tower rose, L'Armoire was replaced. While we're on the subject, just who was this replacement L'Armoire? Why, the man behind the illusion, Valant Gramrai. It was Gramrai? That's quite the illusion. But I still don't get one thing. Yes? The switch happened before the tower rose, correct? So, you weren't on the stage. That's right. But this fake L'Armoire is still singing. And she's pretty good. That's true. Come on, Apollo, that's an easy one. They were just playing a recording. The Gaviners aren't some kind of air guitar band, Fraulein. Oh, you mean I'm wrong? When we play a show live, we play live, no recordings. Perhaps you can explain L'Armoire. Very well. Yes, do tell, and add it to your testimony. Even while you moved.
Hold it!
Kind of fucked up. You were singing? Yes. Mr. Gavin expressed a dislike for recordings, so I used this. Wait, so you were singing the whole time? Even when you were crawling above the ceiling towards the backstage? Why should it matter where I sing? Everywhere I go. Why should it matter where I sing when everywhere I go is the same darkness? But if you were singing while you were walking, that's right. Wouldn't the shooter and victim have heard? She was singing right over the heads after all. That's right. Are you sure? You'd have to be pretty hard of hearing to miss someone singing in the ceiling. Once again, we come back to the state of the scene of the crime. What state? The concert was blaring right in every room. The speaker. That speaker was blaring at the time of the murder. Monitoring. Real-time feed of the stage microphones. Satisfied? That dressing room was fitted with a large speaker playing a direct feed from the stage. At my request, actually. So L'Armoire singing in the ceiling. Sounded just like L'Armoire singing over the speaker. Ingenious! Her voice was hidden. By her voice! L'Armoire? I've just remembered something. Do tell. When I heard the noise, the gunshots, yes? It startled me, so I stopped singing. What? I forgot the words I was supposed to sing. Song stopped? Thankfully, it was the very beginning of the second verse, so not many would notice. Forehead! That mixing board I lent you, where is it? The mixing, huh? That machine, Apollo, the one that breaks music into tracks. Oh, this, I'd completely forgotten about it. Let's take a listen. Can I skip to the second part, please? So 3 is the bass, 5 is the drum. One is the main guitar. it does stop there. It does? I must have missed it. Look at the lyrics sheet. At the top of the second verse. See where it says pleasure, pleasure? Now listen again. Let's play that music one more time. Pleasure, pleasure. Yeah, she got the second one. This is evidence indeed. I believe we are guilty of making a terrible mistake. Crime didn't happen during the third set. Play that funky ballad, German boy. Play that funky ballad, German boy. It happened during the second, during Lamoire's ballad. If that is true, then no one on stage during the second set could have been the shooter. Which means that Darien Crescent could have done it. He wasn't on stage for the second set. Well, Prosecutor Gavin? Fascinating. I don't believe I've ever seen a trial turned about quite so thoroughly. Yet one problem remains. What's that, Prosecutor Gavin? Forehead's theory does have a certain kind of logic to it. Yet it is entirely based upon Lamoire's testimony. Yes? Is there a problem with this? Well, it's quite simple, though it pains me to say it. What if she's lying to protect the defendant? But you have no proof! All I'm saying is that the truth is yet unclear. Until we hear directly from the man himself. You don't mean... Yes. Though he is a friend and a band member, Darien Crescent must take the stand. I see no other way. As someone with a new perspective on this case? As a suspect, to be frank. Ooh. Finally, the rat's coming out of his hole. I'm ready to catch him. Darien Crescent, get ready for justice. Get ready for me. This is as good a time as any to pause for a brief recess. Prosecution will summon the witness. Have him here and ready by the time we begin. I'm the last man who needs to be reminded of what his duties are. Very well. Court is adjourned for a 15-minute recess. To be continued. This is incredibly weird. I'm trying to set up an ad break, but for some reason the button is grayed out, and it says he recently ran an ad and must wait to run another. It is bugged, thanks Twitch. Well, I guess pre-rolls will stay on. I'm going to take a quick break to refill my water and grab a quick snack. Be right back. Hopefully we'll get some music here. There we go. Alright, be right back.